What is up, everybody? Back with a new video here today, and it's going to be my 10 favorite raspy voices in hard rock and metal. Pretty tough list to narrow down here because there are a lot of guys that I consider to be raspy voiced, and it can be kind of a tough line to draw sometimes. Are they rough voice, raspy, harsh? You know, there's a lot of different little subcategories of shit everywhere these days, but I'm just going to call these guys raspy. If you don't agree, I guess let me know in the comments. Give me your 10 picks for this little category I came up with. But my number 10, going to get right into it here, is Jason McMaster. Really cool vocalist. He's got a ton of projects, but the main stuff I like to listen to from him is the first two Dangerous Toys albums and that first Watchtower album. That's a great classic progressive thrash. Pretty ahead of its time. Very technical and awesome, instrumentation and musicianship on that album. And Jason's voice is really cool on it. And then those first two Dangerous Toys albums, I think, are just fantastic. They're kind of glam-ish metal, but a bit heavier and more aggressive than a lot of the other stuff that came out of that same movement in the late 80s, early 90s. Really love, like, the songs Outlaw, Bones in the Gutter. Pretty aggressive vocals from Jason on those songs that I really, really love. Number 9, I got Lemmy. Of course, Lemmy, not known for having a great voice, but it is just that raspy, gruff, style of vocal that really fits Motorhead's music, fits it perfect. A lot of great albums with Motorhead all the way back to the 70s, up through Kiss of Death. I love all that stuff. The last couple they put out, didn't really love personally, but Kiss of Death, Inferno, Overkill, a couple of my favorites from Motorhead, and Lemmy's voice always the mainstay of the band, no matter who else was in the lineup, but Lemmy always there, that great classic iconic voice from him. Number 8, I've got Abath, which he is a black metal vocalist, so here it's kind of tricky. I think he's kind of a raspy voice, obviously, that's why I'm including him, but he has a really unique sound, really unique vocal style that I love. He's on the first, 8 Immortal albums, and then the last couple of years he's been doing a solo thing. He parted ways with Immortal, but a couple of Abath solo albums really good as well. But really, really love At the Heart of Winter and Sons of Northern Darkness, Pure Holocaust as well. Really, most of the stuff he's on with Immortal, just fantastic and just amazing, amazing voice. Next up at number 7, I've got Tom Kiefer from the band Cinderella and more recently his solo stuff. But Tom, I think, overall on this list is probably the most talented musician overall. And he's got really a cool voice. It really kind of fluctuates between being very raspy, and that's kind of what he's really known for, but there's some parts to some Cinderella songs and stuff that he has a really smooth, melodic, like angelic sounding voice, and then it gets gruff and raspy like we're talking about here, but he plays a bunch of instruments, guitar, saxophone, piano, and just an awesome voice, the voice of Cinderella. Love each of the Cinderella albums, 4 great ones from back in the day, and some of his solo stuff's alright, not a huge fan, but those Cinderella albums are freaking amazing, and Tom is the man, so he's here at number 7. Number 6, I have Werewolf, another black metal voice that I love. He's got a lot of projects as well. He is the main man of Satanic Warmaster. Other stuff, he's even got like some traditional stuff where his voice is a little bit more smooth, but on the Satanic Warmaster stuff, definitely raspy. Really love the last 2 albums from them. I love all of it, but Ammengander and Fimbulwinter, my favorites for sure. At number 5, I got Udo Dirkschneider. Really kind of obvious, one that comes to mind right away when you think about raspy voices. He's on all of the Accept stuff from the debut up through Russian Roulette. Left for a while, came back, 3 albums in the 90s with him. He's got a shitload of Udo solo albums, UDO, that are all mostly really good too, but love that early Accept stuff. Even into the 90s, the albums he's on with Accept, I do dig quite a bit. Death Row, one of my favorite personal Accept albums, but other than that, of course, the classics, Balls to the Wall and Metal Heart are some of my other favorites, but Udo, really cool, iconic voice. This one, pretty high up, but I love his voice personally. Some people don't love it, I don't know why, but Mark Slaughter, great voice, really unique style and sound. It does have that raspy tint to it. He was on the second Vinnie Vincent Invasion album, All Systems Go, which is an awesome album, I think. Really great late 80s kind of glamish metal album. And then the 4 Slaughter albums in the 90s, I really like all those. Just big fan of his voice, always have been, always will be. Next up at number 3 is James Paul Luna. Amazing vocalist, super powerful voice. Really love this guy's style and the bands he's been in. I really like most of them. The 3 main bands I'm talking about, White Wizard, fantastic new wave of traditional heavy metal stuff. A lot of people kind of credit them as being the first band of that movement. It's a movement of just a lot of really great bands with that classic style, and White Wizard's first EP was 0809 High Speed GTO, and that kind of kickstarted a lot of this stuff, I think. But that's a fantastic EP with James's voice on it. And then he separated from that band and formed Holy Grail, which was an amazing band. They put out 3 albums, just a lot of really, really cool stuff, kind of a mix of thrash and traditional metal. Crisis in Utopia is a fantastic album. Times of Pride and Peril, love all that stuff. I saw them open for Marty Friedman back in 2016, had no idea who they were. Completely blew me away. One of the only times that's happened where I come into a concert not knowing who a band is, like at all, never listened to them, and then they blow me away. They're one of my favorite bands since, so love his stuff with them. And then Holy Grail has broken up since 2022, I believe, but he's got another band, Entranced, which just another great classic sounding metal band with their full-length debut coming out here pretty soon, so looking forward to that. A couple of tracks they put out so far are quite good. Number 2, I have Stephen Pearcy, the voice of Rat. Fantastic stuff. Everybody knows him. He's got a really, instantly recognizable voice again. I think it's just fantastic. Fits the music very well. And I've always loved his voice. Out of the Cellar, one of my very favorite albums of all time. And his great unique vocals kind of help put that up there as one of my favorites. And before I get to number 1, I got a couple honorable mentions I will run through. Paul Di'Anno. He wasn't the first Iron Maiden vocalist, but he was the vocalist that was on their first couple of albums. Of course, they had a few vocalists before him or whatever, but Ron Keel, Kevin DeBro, Axl Rose, of course, Brian Johnson and Bon Scott from AC/DC got to be mentioned when you're talking about raspy voices in rock and metal. And Jesse James Dupree are some of my honorable mentions. I'm sure there's more. You can let me know in the comments. And taking the number 1 spot for me as Jeff Keith. He is the first guy I think of when raspy hard rock and metal vocalist comes up. The frontman vocalist of Tesla. I love Tesla. Love Jeff Keith. His voice is just so freaking awesome. Very, very unique, I think. Nobody sounds like this guy. Even though, he's in this category of raspy voices, he just stands out to me as the best. And the first guy I think of. Love the first 4 Tesla albums. They've got some other stuff mixed in that's good as well, that's more modern, but Mechanical Resonance, Great Radio Controversy, Psychotic Supper, and Bust a Nut are all fantastic. Was listening back through them, the last couple of days, and just most of the stuff on those is just freaking amazing. Modern Day Cowboy, even though it's, their most popular song or whatever, is one of the greatest hard rock songs of all time. That I don't think is really much of a debate. It's just amazing. And his voice really, really, really strong on all that stuff. So Jeff Keith is my number 1 raspy voice in hard rock and metal. Give me your lists in the comments. Let me know what you thought about mine. And until next time, thank you guys for watching.